We're going to be picking the very first leaves of our winter spinach. These are the ones that we planted out at the end of September. They're a little bit larger than they normally would be, and that's just because we've had a mild autumn. And I've got a inside of a salad spinner that I'm going to pop them in, and we're going to have a look at cleaning them up and storing them in a container to help them last as long as possible in the fridge as well. This is what the bed is looking like at the moment. You can see that I do need to do a bit of weeding. We also had these amongst some kale plants, which you can see are quite a bit larger now. And also I've got some spring onions down here. This is the celery that I cut off when we popped them in, and that's coming back up a little bit as well, which will just give some leaves. But for now, we just want to actually look at the spinach, and you can see the leaves are really quite sizable and bigger than I would expect usually at this time of the year. I'd normally be expecting at this time of the year to have them at this sort of size here. You can also see at the end of the tunnel here, this happens all the time with plants at the end. I've got some damage, so that would be slugs, or those perfect circles, so it could be something else doing that as well. And then I've got a little bit of damage down here as well, but that's absolutely fine. We will still eat those as long as there's nothing really untoward. That's fine for us. You may also notice as well that some of your plants are getting quite tall, like this one here. So this one is going to go to seed earlier. We can still pick these leaves, however, so that's not a problem, but it may not last till spring for us, sadly. When we're looking at picking the leaves, we are really looking at making sure that we pick from the bottom up and that we leave enough of the leaves for them to continue photosynthesizing, especially at this time of the year where the light levels are lower. So we're just going to pick sort of 2 to 4 leaves off of each plant, not too many at all. So that's how many I'm leaving on this plant. You can see there's lots of other baby leaves that are coming as well now. When it comes to removing the leaves, all I'm doing is pinching it and removing it with my fingers. You can, of course, use scissors if you'd prefer. You also want to remove any leaves that are really looking unhealthy or are sat on the soil and getting munched. We don't want them sat in here, mainly because it will attract slugs and things like that. This is how many I've picked, so this will be perfect for our stir fry tonight, but we'll have a look inside at cleaning them up and storing them if you want to for salads. So this is an OXO salad spinner, so it comes in 3 parts. It has this mesh bowl that comes out, and then it has the bowl that catches or holds the water, and it has a lid that provides the spinniness. If you haven't got one of these and you're growing a lot of leaves, then they really are going to save a lot of time, and I would really recommend it. So all I've done is added cold water now to make sure that we can soak off all of this dirt or any bugs that might be sitting in there. If I was picking leaves in the summer, then one thing that I would have done was actually take the water, cold water outside and put them in there straight away to make sure that they stay nice and fresh. So what we're going to do now is just agitate this and help remove that dirt and of course any bugs that might be on it. Usually at this time of the year, unless you've got a lot of aphids under cover, you won't find as much. You may find the odd slug or snail or something, but hopefully we won't find any today. I'm just going to give that a bit of a shake. And you can see the water underneath is really quite grubby, so we're just going to empty that and refill it with some fresh. And then we're simply just going to repeat this process until the water is clean at the bottom. During the summer, you can of course use that water to water the garden outside as well, so it doesn't go to waste. And then we're just going to pop the lid on, unlock it, and give it a push. and this is simply spinning the water off of the leaves for us. If you don't have a salad spinner, then you can just pop them in a bowl and just shake each of the leaves individually and get them as dry as you can before we pop them into the container. And then they've got a little break that you can just stop that spinning as well. Okay, so now we don't have completely dry leaves, but it should be dry enough that we can pop it into a container now. You can see that leaf for this time of the year is really quite large. So all I've got here is a lock and lock, and we're just going to check each of the leaves, make sure that there isn't any bugs on them. Of course, if you don't want to do that, that's entirely up to you. I tend to, because even though you can be really thorough, you can still find the odd snail hiding somewhere, and you don't want that in your sandwich or in your salad. And then onto the top of that, we're just going to pop a piece of damp kitchen towel. This is literally just going to help it stay fresh for longer. You can do that with shop bought as well, and it will help it from going all dry and being no good after a couple of days. Pop the lid on, and this is going to sit in the fridge now. It should be good for at least a week. Some of the leaves are a little bit bruised where it's gone around the spinner, so it may only last that long, but otherwise it can last 2 weeks usually, absolutely fine. We will be having a look at these again in early spring when the plants are starting to go to seed, and the really large giant leaves will be available to pick then, and at that point we will be having a look at how to cook them and then store them in the freezer to use over the summer months as well.